Welcome to Shane's Garage. This episode, we're going to be porting. So let's take a look at the tools we need to port and polish. Sanding rolls, carbide tips, small tips, like, your finishing tips to make your rounded edges, get rid of casting debris, etc. Bore brushes are nice, WD-40. Marking tools, sandpaper, clean water. This is dirty from last night. We started the project yesterday. That little brush is found at AutoZone, and it's awesome. Come over here. Here's the tools you need. This is a long shank sanding roll, and this is a short shank sanding roll, and this is our tapered carbide tip to start by hogging it out a little. And to finish it off, we have a pink stone on a Dremel tool. Let's get to what we've done so far. We'll come over here. Alright, so you should have seen the crap that we had to scoop out of this thing. But initially, obviously it was destroyed, all gray and feathered, kind of like that intake over there. Just fuzzed right out. We stripped all that off with that nifty-difty wire brush, cleaned all the components, even though the stickers on this thing tell you not to touch it. Believe me, after 17 years, the thing needed a little help. That's the idle air control, so when the butterflies are closed, that electronic motor right there opens up a bypass valve, which you can see the inlet hole right there, and then it draws it through there. That is your throttle position sensor. We cleaned that, got the bolts out, never seized them. And right there's the honey pot of it. That was full. We emptied all that out. We didn't port the ridge, but we did polish it, and it does look pretty nice. I'll probably go back in one more time with the machine polish wheel, which looks like, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Number one, any type of fine cut compound. And where are you? Right here. These guys. That's the used buffing wheel, and I'll show you what we did on that. Here's what they look like, nice and clean. So you go in there with a little bit of compound and that. Now this is the first bore piece, or a piece that I actually bored out, I should say, and ported. I don't know if I can show you guys. Oh yeah, there's plenty of sight there. But that right there was full of casting. So we sanded this all out. You can see actually my finger reflecting off it. It's almost mirror finished. Right in this area was the casting seam. And what I mean by casting seam is there's a ridge inside here that when it's casted, there's a little slag metal hanging out of the center of it. That definitely is not helping flow. So we got rid of that. There's still a little deformation, but we'll probably smooth that out a little more. We come into this side, the same deal. You can actually almost see where that casting ridge was. But it was, believe me, it followed right along here. That's all gone. That has been ported and polished once. I am going to go over it again. But as of right now, that's what we got to deal with. I'll stand it up so you can get a better view. It almost looks like a piston cylinder. Now, set this up over here. Over here, we started to cut it out. And literally, you want to work like within the first 2 to 3 inches tops. And you just want to kind of smooth out all the crap. Now, this edge right here and this edge right here, as with all the inside bends, that's the most important area where flow is going to come down. That's where the gasoline is going to layer the intake. If you had gasoline, this is an EFI system. Again, this is just air. But the same circumstances. You want the flow. You don't want the air to turn as much as you can. You want a nice even shot all the way through. You see how you can just barely see the inlet there? That's what we're talking about. We want as straight a shot to all 4 ports as possible. I believe there's a term called taking the low center out of it or something like that. But basically, I already started doing it. And we did start to clear out the edges on the cylinders here, and everything's starting to get opened up. But you can still see my marks that I am about, in layman's terms, I'm about 1/8 of an inch away from actually getting it opened up enough. And before I close the video and continue porting, I will show you the gasket compared to the intake for your reference and mine. Here's our gasket set. I stand behind Felpro gaskets. I have no problem using them. This side up. So you want to get the gasket basically as aligned as possible to the intake. And there, you see the section of metal I'm about to take out of here is pretty substantial. But you move the gasket and there's plenty. Now, on these 97 ranges, I learned just from watching this, I didn't learn anything here on YouTube except for what I learned when I actually tore the truck apart. This port right here is freaking tiny opposed to the lower half of this plenum. These ports actually are, I know they're crapped up, but they are much bigger. You can actually see the little lip from where the gasket was barely not covering it on the inside. So there's a lot of room for air volume. And on a turbo truck, air volume's what I want. So we gotta open this thing up a lot. Again, I think I'm doing an excellent job on the intake assembly, but I've got to hog this thing out big time. So it's a good spot to start. It's a good way to get my feel before I make my way down to the cylinder head. Wish me luck, YouTubers. Again, we're going for 525 horse. We can't have shitty ass casting burrs inside the intake. I want the most air I can get out of it. Now, I guess they call this stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. I don't know what the specific stages are about all this intake stuff, but I imagine it's how much the intake is ported, depending on how much your wallet can consume. If you were to go out and buy a stage 2 or stage 3 intake, I imagine that it's ported pretty much all the way from the throttle body down and out. Yeah, we can only reach so far in. Again, we get like 6-inch mandrel at most, so it's gonna get tough to get all the way in here. But the more we can do, the closer we get to stage 3, from what I understand. And to do that, instead of buying that, well, that's what we do here at Shane's Garage. So keep up with my videos. I told you I was going to show you what the porting was. Unfortunately, I wish I showed you this thing beforehand. Holy. I say about 2 hours of my work was just cleaning the carbon out of it. But there it is. Let's chisel it out some more. I'll come back later on and show you what we came out with. Take it easy.